Today's episode is brought to you by NRG. NRG brings the power of energy to people and organizations, putting customers at the center of everything it does. A Fortune 500 company, NRG generates electricity and provides energy solutions and natural gas to more than 3.7 million residential, small business, and commercial and industrial customers through its diverse portfolio of retail brands. To learn more, visit picknrg.com. Hello, my name is Abby Maloney, and you're watching Invest Insights, where we interview thought leaders who are shaping our communities today. In today's episode, I speak with Chris Heck, the president of the Philadelphia 76ers. Chris, the end of the season didn't go the way that the team intended, and the pandemic has caused a lot of challenges in even completing the season. Can you reflect first on the NBA and how they handled the season throughout the pandemic? And tell us a little bit more about what it was like to operate during the playoffs in this bubble type environment.
First of all, the NBA and Adam Silver in particular, we had full confidence right from the beginning. And maybe I had an unfair advantage because I worked with Adam for 7 years at the league office in the early 2000s. And he's a leader of leaders. And we expected him and his staff to forge a path of safety, of innovation, and of leadership that would be followed by the rest of the leagues, not only in North America but the world. So I always had that inner confidence in Adam and his direction, and that's a great comfort in a world of uncertainty that we all found ourselves in. As we moved into the bubble and how the last 8 games of the regular season played out, and even into the playoffs, injuries, circumstances, some teams excelled, some teams didn't. And we would have loved to have been in there all the way to the end. But if you're going to have a year where you have a hiccup, this is probably the year to do it.
We've seen so much innovation and new developments come out of the challenges with the pandemic. What are some of the innovations and new developments that you've experienced that you think will benefit the team, the organization, and sports in a post-pandemic world?
Yeah, I think communications is then the key for everything. We talked about, we all experience, everyone in North America has experienced Zoom and the FaceTime and everything else that we're seeing with technology that maybe was there before, but we didn't take advantage of. We, of course, miss being in person on a daily basis, but I think that technology has kept us together and let us communicate sometimes too much. We got to a point where we were working many, many more hours than even in the norm. And so I think balance has found its way with scheduling and with communicating in this new world that we're living in. So, but I think ultimately it comes back to communication in general, and that we're in the people business. And so whether it's with fans or with our internal staff, our players, how are we communicating with one another, whether we're teaching or learning or driving new ways to do business that we never thought we would enter into.
And what has been the feedback from your fan base during the season?
Yeah, we certainly have been diving into content of all forms, whether it's been long form on television or Instagram and TikTok and everything in between. So it's also like a area of more danger too, because everyone has that voice as a media outlet, so to speak, in their social media. And sometimes people take liberties, and things are fair and sometimes they're not fair. So we have to navigate through that of what truly is our voice and our fans' voice too, as opposed to who's just being loud on a particular media outlet. So that navigation will continue. That won't be going away anytime soon, even when the world comes back and we're face to face.
On top of everything that has happened this year, we are also in an election year. And so the 76ers recently announced the Vote 76 initiative to educate the local community and get out the vote. You're also partnering with the Wells Fargo Center to offer general election activities. Why was it important for the 76ers to use your platform to support voter registration and voter activity?
Well, I think that to the core of who we are in our brand, that we celebrate the signing of the Declaration of Independence with our name, and all things that are good in our history that stem from Philadelphia. So it was a very natural progression for us to, of course, celebrate the right to vote and to lend a hand in our country where we think it's not only a great right of democracy, but also an opportunity to really push people to, to stand up for what they believe in, and without being politically driven. We want to always be a team for the people, and we think that voting represents that very well.
What are your main concerns and priorities as this team starts to envision next season, considering that the challenges of the pandemic might be here for some time to come?
Yeah, we're certainly keeping an eye on everything that is health conscious, from a vaccine to prevention of spread. And so, whether we're having customized masks that we're giving out to our fan base, or we are working with our own training facility and offices to make them as safe as possible. And that goes from temperature checks to plexiglass to air filtrations. We're learning this world that we never knew existed. So that's a priority for sure. But we're also thinking about how this changes when we do have a vaccine, or when we do feel like the virus is squashed, and what that means of a start of a season and all the way to an end. So we have a kind of a mindset right now that it may look like something very different from the start to the end of our season. And we think that our season will be pushed probably well into January, all the way to the start of March for a start of our season. But we're confident that we'll have a full 82 game schedule that may go all the way into July for the postseason once again. And then hopefully that next cycle we get back to normal.
From your perspective, why should fans be excited for next season?
I think that sports has lifted our country and our world, to a place where we really needed it. We really needed optimism. We really needed a break. We needed good content. We needed something to cheer for. And, I think from international soccer all the way to the NBA and now baseball going into the playoffs and then the NFL and so forth, hockey just finishing up. It's been really a healthy change for all of us, and we're progressing together. I think that is one of the great takeaways for what I've experienced, is that we're in a big state in Pennsylvania, but typically we just talk to our counterparts in our own city. But all of a sudden now we're talking to, because it is statewide, how this country is handling the pandemic. We're talking to the Penguins and the Steelers and the Pirates and everybody in between. And so that collaboration has been quite healthy and quite welcome.
This year has been obviously like none other, and has tested everyone more than they probably ever could have imagined. And while we're not through the woods, what have the last number of months taught you about resilience?
It's taught me that, like, we keep forging on, and we keep forging on because it's 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 of interest to our current state, and mentally, physically. I think that this has taught me to exercise, number one. It's also taught me to eat better. So like we can go in a couple different directions here. And I think many of us have gone in all directions and gone in these cycles. But I think we're actually in a stronger place getting back to the world. We're all so anxious and interested in getting our kids back in school. We're interested in being back playing sports ourselves. All these things are progress to get back to a place where we appreciate what we have that much more. And I think, it's really interesting, Abby, like our fan base continues to get stronger. So we've had 1,000 new full season tickets sold during the pandemic, and it's #1 in the NBA. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because there is a enthusiasm and a thirst for getting back to what was great and what is exciting to us all as individuals, and to experiencing that together. So I think that goal line is coming closer and closer, and that's exciting and energizing for us in particular.
Well, thank you again. That was Chris Heck, the president of the Philadelphia 76ers. This episode was brought to you today by NRG. Do see the description below for more information. My name is Abby Malone, and you've been watching Invest Insights. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on the latest business trends from our knowledgeable experts. Be sure to check out the description below for more information on the segment you just watched. Thanks for tuning in.